fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got tracks and he's going with the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
An all-new season of the iRacing Grand Prix Series is here on SimSpeed TV. Big hello, welcome wherever you are right around the world to our coverage of round one from Circuit Gilles Villeneuve here in Montreal. Awesome way to start off season 3 for 2022. My name is Jay Kennedy. Alongside me for today's show is Kane Craft. Kane, good morning to you, or good afternoon to you. This should be very, very fun. We saw last season, you were here for the race here last season. It was very, very entertaining. Expecting very, very much the same.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this. Just coming off of a great season. Fassbender took the championship and everything resets to zero now. Everyone's got a chance to put their name at the top of the board. And I'm really anxious to see who's going to step up this season and give Fassbender a run for his money.
Yeah, Steppen your meeting there. Steppen was the one that won the championship.
Was it?
Yeah. Oliver Steppen dominated the championship and had it sealed before the start of the last round. So yeah, it should be fun to see if he can do it again. I know he's looking at doing a potential last to first challenge, but decided against that at the last moment. So we'll quickly look at our circuit here in Montreal. Infamous, amazing circuit. In Montreal, of course, the home of the Canadian Grand Prix, which is also on this weekend. Just under 4.5 kilometers, under 3 miles in length, but 2 DRS zones down the back straight past the casino and then down the first straightaway as well over the start finish line. Should create a bit of passing opportunity into the chicane at Wall of Champions, as well as the run into turn 1. The most crucial corner though, Lepangle, the hairpin at the midpoint of the lap, or the second half of the lap, should provide some interesting passing opportunities as well.
Another thing to keep an eye on, off tracks are very brutal here. They can cost you a lot of time. If you get pushed a little wide, it could cost you a lot of seconds.
100%. Very, very crucial to make sure you keep on top of those off-track penalty system, or the off-track penalty system here at Montreal. Qualifying is currently underway and Oliver Steppen leading the way. Second position at the moment is Jorge Almanza from Mexico. A few drivers, or most drivers I should say, have finished their qualifying runs. Not many drivers left to do their laps, so we'll get a little look in at a couple of drivers, but almost everyone has completed their runs. A couple of drivers don't look like they're going to get a lap in qualifying. Cedric Beal in a little bit of trouble getting his run done, and Alexander Catamol as well also doesn't look like he'll get a lap in this session. So it's just John Pat Kelly and on screen Sergio Pastian, who may get a lap in. Sergio, native of Canada, so this is a bit of a home Grand Prix for him.
I was looking for Simone and don't look like he's in the race this week. I was looking for some good racing from him this season.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see him back into the series later on in the season. Bastian jumps across the line in 15th position. John Pat Kelly jumps into 11th position, so not many drivers left. Anthony Catt, who has qualified in 5th, he has done his 2 qualifying laps. George Van Rensburg as well also has done his laps as well. He is done for the session, so it's just Passian, the only one left who can trouble the timing sheet here on his second lap. Everyone gets 2. So this second lap could be crucial to improving his time. The only issue with running a second lap, you often have no battery left for that second run, so it does really hurt your attempt to go all out and try and get yourself a fantastic qualifying time. If he finds himself just under a second, he can gain a spot, but fairly wide spread of drivers in this one this week. Only the one split, so we've got a fairly big range of drivers from the top to the bottom of the field.
And that could cause some problems for some of these guys, depending on the level of quality of those drivers at the bottom of the field.
Definitely could, but it also could provide a big opportunity for some of these guys at the back of the field to potentially get themselves up a bit higher from where they would normally find themselves as well. So always an interesting dynamic when we see these sort of races. So we'll see how it plays out as qualifying comes to an end. And this is our starting grid for race 1 of the season. Oliver Steppen and Jorge Almanza on the front row, with Luis Nunez and Remy Garcia on the second row. Anthony Catt and Renato Augusto always get themselves in good battles, those two. That'll be good to watch with them side by side on row 3. Row 4, Marcel Fassbender, a little bit further back than we would normally expect. He'll start from 7th position, 8th position for Kent Nielsen in his home Grand Prix. Then George Van Rensburg and Adam Webb on row number 5. Row 6, John Pat Kelly and Klaus Siemetz, also a little bit further back than we expect for Siemetz as well. We got Bosma and St. Pierre on row 7, Passian and Shabiata, on row 8. Row 9 is Silva and Rudnev. And then we move on to the final row of our 20-car grid. Cedric Beale, who we said didn't get a lap in, will be doing a bit of a last to first challenge alongside Alexander Catamol from the USA. Our 20th car, as the drivers are almost all on the grid. It's going to be very, very entertaining to see how it plays out. With such a strong field at the front. As we said, a little bit of a mix of talent, but that often can bring about opportunities as well as some difficulties.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on Anthony Catt. He's a good driver, but he seems to find himself in some crazy strategy scenarios sometimes. I'm anxious to see how he does in this field with one split.
Every driver must stop at one point for a change of tyres. Most are starting on the medium, but a couple of drivers have opted to start on the soft compound tyre. That is Kent Nielsen. I can see Francisco Silva, and there's one other as well. I think it is Klaus Siemetz as well, also on the soft compound tyre, out of the drivers that have taken to the grid. So they will find themselves needing to pit a little bit later than everyone else. So they will have some pace towards the end as the green flag flies and we are away for season 3. A little bit of a rough start from the back of the field, but at the front looks like it's fairly clean, and Nunez trying to hold a spot. Fassbender and Nielsen side by side. Looks like we're going to get through turn 1 cleanly.
So far, everybody's single file staying pretty clean. Not seeing much passing action here yet. Maybe they're waiting to get a few laps in to get some DRS.
There's a little bit of an incident back in the field. Bosma and Pastian have both had an incident back at the back of the pack. If I can get my words out at 6 a.m. And also interesting to note that John Pat Kelly started this race from pit lane to try and avoid some incidents. So he'll try and work his way forward from there. But front of the field relatively clean, as we said. No DRS at this stage. Of course, won't start until lap number 3. This is a little bit of an interesting battle pack here for 8th behind Kent Nielsen. You've got Van Rensburg and Adam Webb weaving down the track, and just ahead, side by side, Fassbender and Kent Nielsen still side by side as Kent Nielsen squeezes just enough. A little bit of contact, but it looks like they may have got away with it. Fassbender may have a tiny little bit of damage to that front wing.
Yeah, on my screen it showed his tire flying off, but then it went right back on, so it must have been a little bit of netcode issue. Looks like he's doing all right.
Klaus Siemert's in the pits very, very early, and I can't see that there's any damage to his car or a potential meatball flag, so that's a strange one for him. Actually, no, he's come in and get a front nose cone, so there is another car in as well, as you said. That's Passian, who we saw having issues right at the start. He's getting a new front wing, but Klaus Siemert's, he's actually out of the car, so that's surprising to see. As Cedric Beal just makes a move on Marcel Fassbender. So Fassbender, since that side-by-side down the back straight, has resulted in Marcel Fassbender losing all of his pace. I wouldn't be surprised to see him come in early. You can see the damage to the front of that wing. You might have to come in very, very early and switch the hard tyres and get a new front wing, because that pace is well and truly down.
Yeah, there he goes.
Pretty sure we'll see Fassbender go to the hard compound tyre to bring it home from here. Tough ask to do 30 plus laps on a set of tyres in these races, but it can be done, especially if you've got the talent and the skill that Marcel Fassbender does. Was former iRacing World Championship driver.
Up at the front, Oliver Steppen has got himself well out of DRS range, so Almanza really going to have to push hard to get back into DRS range to have a chance. And Almanza is under pressure from Nunez. Nunez still within DRS range and should be getting DRS anytime, right?
Yep. Green light is on his steering wheel, which means that he's got DRS available when he crosses the line, which is right there. 4 lights means the DRS is open. Now we'll start closing in the gap. Weather on track, very, very hot track conditions. Only 20 degrees Celsius in the air, but 42 degrees on track. So she's very, very hot out there, partly cloudy conditions. So tyre wear could potentially be a bit of an issue later on in the race with how warm the track is, especially in comparison to the air temperature. Quite a contrast of temperatures between those there, as John Pat Kelly makes another move.
Yeah, up into...
I think into 12th already.
11th?
Remember, he started from the pits. He's into 12th.
Yeah, it is. For some reason, my on-screen thing ain't updating quite fast enough for me.
Looking to get another move done here on Francisco Silva is John Pat Kelly, of course, regular to the series. And interesting strategy choice to start from the pit lane. I don't know if that was an issue or something else that forced that to happen, as Nunez has got it closer on this lap. So is he close enough to potentially steal a move here with the DRS? Again, green light on the steering wheel means that the DRS is available. DRS now open. Let's see the speed close in. Already doing about 4 kilometers an hour more. Make that about 8. Not quite close enough, but of course there's one more DRS zone.
Manza must have had some battery to help keep him off, because he didn't really gain that much.
100%. And just also saw Ronaldo Augusto just lost a spot to Kent Nielsen as well. So remember, Nielsen on the soft. Ronaldo's on the soft tyres, so that could be playing an impact there too.
Yeah, true that. Those soft tires definitely got more speed. They just don't last as long, and he's hoping to make all his gains early. Man, that incident where he bumped into Fassbender, I really thought that would have done more damage, but apparently it hasn't done a thing.
Not to Nielsen, but as we saw, Fassbender was in to get a new front wing, and surprisingly, Fassbender hasn't gone for the hard compound tyre. He's gone for the soft to try and get as many spots back as he can. So that could potentially hurt him later on. He'll have to come in and make another stop on those tyres. But it will be interesting to see. Now, we said before about Nunez didn't quite have enough to get past Almanza at the front. Well, now he's under pressure here from Remy Garcia, who's got the DRS now. And he gets that done very easily. Does Remy Garcia? Nunez into the pits very early. I can't see any damage on his car. Oh, yes, I can. There's damage to the front wing on his left-hand side of his front wing. So he'll be coming in to get that fixed, and he'll probably go... Oh, what will he do tyre-wise? Strange
Maybe
strategies
if I
going
was
on
another
here.
medium. And he went hard.
Yeah, so you'll make it so that he won't have to pit again. Let's get a replay. There's been an incident at the final chicane here between between Silva and Shibata. Oh, they've just clunked wheels and that was messy.
Yeah, everybody's still going, so we'll have to wait to see if anybody took damage. And they do it again. Oh, that's the same one over again. Okay, phew. Scared me.
That was just a messy incident, wasn't it? As
Yeah, it was.
Rudnev trying to make the move around the outside of Francisco Silva, not able to get it done, and Marcel Fassbender, he wants in on this action as well. He should hit these spots rather easily. Try and get himself back up to where he believes he should be. Oh, this is going to be really bad. I don't know if you want to get involved in this Fassbender. He decides not
He thinks
to.
better of it.
And straight ahead goes Rudnev into the pits. So, interesting, we're only 7 laps in, not even a quarter race distance. We've already seen a quarter of the field, or more than a quarter of the field, have to come into the pits. Almost all for damage repair. So, these curbs, as much as anything else, are really playing havoc on the drivers. Steppen off out in front. He's now out to a 3-second advantage. Almanza has broken away from that group behind. Anthony Catt is now up into 4th position, but he's got Kent Nielsen closing in pretty quickly. Last lap by, Nielsen around about a second quicker, set one of the fastest laps of the race last lap by, or previous lap by. Not quite there on this one, but Anthony Catt 4th position, Kent Nielsen 5th. This is a very, very tight battle. Of course, soft versus medium tyre playing a big impact right at this point now. The soft tyres are at their prime.
Yeah, soft tires was a good choice for Kent Nielsen. It got him right up through the field, now pressuring for 4th place, and he's bound to get it. I mean, he's got so much pace, and he's well within DRS range.
100% right. He should get the spot relatively easy, but I think the big interesting part of it is how long will he hold on to the spot for. Whether he can maintain the position for quite a while or whether it will go very quickly is the interesting thing to look at from this point here. We'll see what happens and how it does play out.
Yeah, because those softs will start degrading very soon after this point.
Anthony Catt already into the pit, so he's decided the mediums are either no good or, again, another front wing. So, having a couple of technical issues at the moment as well. Also noticed at the end of that lap there too, Oliver Stepanov had a moment. So, let's see if we can pick it up here on the replay. He just got held up by lap traffic and couldn't quite get through. It just made it a little bit more difficult for him to continue on that run. So, gets through without any damage, which is good to see. Anthony Catt back out. He's already on the softs, so surprising that the track temperature being as warm as it is. It's not extreme, but it's definitely warm. Some of these guys think they can do 25, 26 laps on a set of soft tyres. That's incredible.
Maybe they're going for a 3-stopper or something. That does seem awful early on these softs. Now he's disappeared on me. There he is. A little bit of connection issues. Maybe he just seen how well Kent Nielsen was doing on those softs and thought, I better switch.
Been lots of practice done by these guys all week, so I'm sure... Oh, Adam Webb. Huge lockup as he closed that gap up to George Van Rensburg, but almost made contact. Avoided it in the end. He'll have to restart his run again. Already cleared his slowdown penalty, so away he goes. He hasn't lost too much ground from that, but it's the hard work that he's done and the hyperheating of the tyres that becomes the issue from that sort of spin, so he'll have to do it all over again. See what he can do.
He just had I'm gonna sound like an F1 newbie, and I kind of am. But after his issue, he had DRS, and he was well over 2 seconds behind.
Yeah, so it's from the activation point, which is at the entrance to the hairpin. So he was within the within the 1 second at that point. So that's why he had DRS after his spin.
Gotcha.
It's not based off live. It's based off where you are at the activation point. So you could actually get ahead of a driver and still have DRS at that point. So it is interesting in that aspect how the DRS does work and how it's able to change things around. As second place for how Almanza has had an issue and has now got Remy Garcia right on his tail, and he's still got a slowdown to clear, has Almanza. So this is now an interesting fight, interesting battle for second position.
Oh, there's no way to hold that if he's got a.
He's still got to clear the
slowdown.
slowdown.
Montreal slowdown to clear. There's no way.
Still hasn't cleared it, so he's got to be careful to not get a black flag. He's done so he's able to now race on, but have a look at how close it is. Remy Garcia is right on his tail. Now, after that spin as well, Adam Webb has come into the pits. John Pat Kelly has come into the pits. They have both done tyre stops, and away they go. So these soft tyres are going to last a lot longer than I was expecting. I was thinking maybe 15 laps would be the limit, but that looks like it's closer to 25 and almost 30 potentially.
Well, I guess our test car would be Kent Nielsen. He's been on him for 11 laps and is still flying.
Yeah, Kent Nielsen's pace hasn't dropped off. Beautiful move there from Remy Garcia, using the DRS to his advantage to get that move done over Almanza, who, of course, as we said, was having issues with clearing a slowdown. He's now back up to full pace. See what he can do for the remainder as we hit just over 1/3 distance, lap 12 of Season 3's Round 1. The iRacing Grand Prix Series on SimSpeed TV. Of course, if you are new to the broadcasts, this series is open to anyone with an A-Class iRacing license. And each and every weekend we will cover top split action of this series, which has been extremely fun over the last 2 years that we've been covering. And of course, 3 different cars we've used in this series over that time. Of course, we've had the Williams, we've had the McLaren, and of course the all-new Mercedes that the guys are out there in right now. All very, very different cars with similar characteristics, but all completely different at the same time. Well, Garcia pushing very aggressively. Just kicked up a little bit of dust there. You've got to be careful doing that, because as soon as you put your foot on the brakes while you've got 1 or 2 wheels in the dirt, can loop you around very easily.
Well, penalty here.
Will we see Almanza jump into the pits here to try and get himself back in some track position? Kent Nielsen's closing on these guys as well. He's only 2 seconds back. There he is, right there in that yellow car. We'll see if he can close this in. Almanza with the DRS down the back straight. Not quite close enough to make it work to his advantage, but see any of these guys come in to the pits at any stage. We'll hopefully have Kane back with us in a second. He's just having a couple of internet issues. Another battle that's starting to brew as well is Cedric Beale starting to close in on George Van Rensburg. Van Rensburg in the absolutely amazingly coloured purple and blue. Doing a great job. Kept the front now stretched out to 7.5 seconds. Remy Garcia in second position with Almanza behind, and Kent Nielsen, as we said, around about 2.5 seconds back. He's actually dropped a little bit of pace on this lap. Interesting battle here. Adam Webb and Marcel Fassbender, two drivers that have been in the pits for tyres. Fassbender a little bit quicker on that previous lap, trying to get through, but not able to do so. See if you can get this move done. Not quite close enough. Of course, DRS, I did forget earlier when we were talking about DRS zones. There is a DRS zone there down that straight between second and third chicanes. Not able to use it to his advantage to get a move done there, but it's more about making sure that drivers are in a position to use this DRS zone right here out of the hairpin, out of the pangle. They get the run down towards the pit lane. Both drivers have pitted, so we know that there'll be no pit stops needed for these guys at this stage. We're not sure on whether Marcel Fassbender will need to come back in for another pit stop. But at this stage, he looks like he is pushing relatively hard. So whether that's a sign that he doesn't need to pit for tyres, or whether it's a sign that he knows that he's going to have to come back in, so he might as well push hard and use as much tyre as he can now. It'll be interesting to see when we get to about 10-15 to go, where he's sitting in regards to that tyre life. That battle we were watching between Garcia and Almanza has slowed down, so there's not much happening with that at the moment. They're fairly stagnant at around that half a second bracket. This battle here is a lot closer at this stage. Fassbender definitely has a bit more pace, but just cannot get the move done.
All right, I think I'm back. Do you got me?
I've got you now. That sounds much better. As through goes Marcel Fassbender. Very, very nice move. Uses the DRS to his advantage. Interesting here. They'll have Ronaldo Augusto just ahead of them, who's jumped into the pits to clear his compulsory pit stop. About 2 seconds back. You saw a little bit of smoke there. That was from Alexander Catamol. Had a little bit of a moment through turn one. But Fassbender now is clear of Adam Webb and will push on. But to me, this seems like Fassbender knows that he can't make it on tyres, so he's just pushing as hard as he can to try and make sure he can bring it home. Someone else who knows he can't make it on tyres is the guy at the lead of the race. Of course, he knows he can't make it on tyres because the rules say he can't.
Right. He's in the pits. It'll be interesting. I guess he's going to go on to soft tires. Everybody else has done fine. 17 laps on soft tires, so... Yep, there he goes.
4-second stop, as per relatively normal for Ollie Steppanoff. Away he goes, still in third position out on track as well, so lost him almost nothing. Almanza comes out on softs as well. Cedric Beale is also in the pits to get his pit stop done, so only 3, 4, 5 cars left to make their compulsory pit stop. A couple of those
Nielsen's still out there on those reds.
On those softs, yeah, so he's making them work really well for him. So it shows that the guys that pitted very early to switch to soft tyres should be okay in making them last all the way to the end, but you never know how quickly things can change in this series too. Remy Garcia, will he pit this lap? Will he continue on? He probably has to come in to negate that pit stop from Almanza, so we'll see where Almanza comes out, and he may actually have some DRS to help him here too. He does, from one of the lap down cars. He gets DRS advantage. Kent Nielsen continues on, no surprise there. But
so DRS Almanza, from a lap down car as well?
Yep. Doesn't matter what car it is, as long as you're within that gap, you can get your DRS advantage. So it doesn't discriminate as long as you're within that gap of another car. Garcia away. Where will he come out with Almanza? This is going to be pretty tight between these two. And the gap is as it was.
He's already made his way back up into second. 6 seconds down from Kent Nielsen, but Kent Nielsen's got to pit anytime.
Nielsen's
was
lap
there maybe
pace
an
is still
update to the tire that allowed these reds to go so far?
Well, I'm guessing that the heat isn't as bad as we predicted. Of course, this is a fairly low tire degrading track. The track is relatively smooth, especially for a street circuit. So, yeah, the tire life is reasonably decent here at Montreal. But yeah, I'm surprised at how well the softs are lasting. I mean, you look at his pace, he's only 0.4 of a second, 0.5 of a second off his fastest lap. So he's very, very consistent in regards to his pace, doing high 11s to low 1 minute 12s. There he does an 11.9. Oliver Steppen off behind here will do, it's going to be a 10, yep, a 10.9. Steppen off, that is the fastest lap of the race for anyone. First driver to do a 1 minute 10 in race conditions. So
Kent Nielsen's got 6 seconds and it's losing fast. So wouldn't now be the perfect time to come in and pit while you got a little bit of a buffer?
Well, Kent Nielsen's race isn't necessarily against Steppanoff, though. His race is more against Anthony Cat. They were on a similar strategy earlier, but that split up after Cat came in what we thought was relatively early, but from what we're seeing now, may not prove to be. So that gap's 20 seconds. That's probably more the gap we need to keep an eye on at the moment. 19.6 seconds between Anthony Cat and Kent Nielsen. Both are lapping very, very similar in regards to pace. So we'll see how this next little bit plays out.
19 laps on softs. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah, and of course, Marcel Fassbender, if he goes all the way to the end, he'll do 31 laps on the soft tyre.
Oh, that's true. Because he had to pit for damage and took the softs.
Yeah, and I think you and I were both surprised that he took softs there. We thought that he definitely would have went hard compound tyre, but went soft, which is surprising. Now, we've had 3 DNFs from this race. Rudenev, Klaus Siemetz, and Henrik Bosma. Ronaldo Augusto has hit the wall of champions, has he?
Let's get a replay on that.
The replay's gone back a little bit further than I was hoping, so we'll pick it up coming into the hairpin, but something big's happened, and uncharacteristic for Augusto as well. Usually
Beautiful
incident
car
free.
he's got.
Yeah, does look good. A few different liveries we've got this season, so it's going to take a little bit of getting used to some of the new looks for some of the drivers for this season. There's a lap down car in front of him. Oh, he's just, oh, wow. Yeah, who was the other car involved there? It's Catamol.
So he just ran into another car.
Well, Catamol's that car in front of him. I think he's trying to get out of the way, and then he's just lit up the tyres, and bang, Catamol's just launched straight into a Ronaldo Augusto.
Now, the black car that got through, did he get through clean?
That is a very good question. I'm not 100% sure. That was Fassbender, actually, the car behind. So we'll see. We'll watch on board from Marcel Fassbender. He got through this incident.
Oh, no way.
No, he may. Yeah, he's got front wing damage for sure. So after already coming in once to change a front wing, he's going to have to do it all over again.
Well, he needed some new tires anyway.
Yeah, well, that could be the excuse that he needed. But he'll be disappointed with how that's played out.
Yeah,
Kent Nielsen continues on at the front. Ollie Steppanoff only 2 seconds back, but that gap we were talking about has actually swung back in favour of Kent Nielsen. Anthony Cat has lost a little bit of ground. Go back to the battle we've been watching for a lot of this race between Remy Garcia and Jorge Almanza. Almanza just not quite quick enough to get a move done. He's got pace, but just hasn't got the pace in the right spots on the track to get the move done. Interesting, though, last lap by, he set the fastest lap of the race.
Wow. Way to go. That's tough to set the fastest lap of the race with this field.
It's always tough to set it at this point of the race as well. I mean, we usually see the fastest lap on the last 2 laps, just based on the nature of the way that the fuel burns off in these cars. Of course, no refueling in these cars during the pit stop, so what you start with is what you've got, and the burn off is pretty extreme. So the weight difference between the starting fuel and the closing fuel is very, very different. Very aggressive through the final chicane for Almanza, but not quite close enough to get the move done, as we've got 12 laps to go in this race. We're at 2/3 done, 1/3 to go. It's been a fantastic race, been controversial, entertaining, and a great start to the season so far.
And some couple serious wrecks.
Definitely.
Stepping off just about in DRS range of Nielsen.
If that green light comes on his steering wheel, you can see just under his name there. It's green lights which have not lit up, so no DRS, even though he's within the second now. Oh no, he's got it. So that was a bit weird how it didn't show the DRS lights prior to that, but see the 1 light still on, now back to 4 lights I should say, which means DRS is open. There should be a move done, probably thinking through the second or the third DRS zone between the second and third hairpin.
Enjoyed his many laps in the lead for Nielsen, so he will have enjoyed that, but I know he knows that that time's coming to an end now.
Almanza's just got through on Remy Garcia into turn 1. We've missed that while we were watching. I looked at the gap and saw that there was no hope of that gap being close enough, but what a move from Remy Garcia up the inside, holds it around the outside and gets the move done. That is a beautiful bit of driving from Jorge Almanza. He should be okay in regards to maintaining the spot. There's a DRS activation line that they've just crossed over, so within a second, lap down car pulls out of the way. Steppen off through with the DRS. No surprise to see that done. Of course, Kent Nielsen, the only car out on track that will need to pit still. That gap between he and Anthony Catt is still stretching out. He's gained a second over the last 3 laps since we've been watching that gap.
He's down into the 112s now, so he's really losing some time, but he's really testing those reds to see how long they can go.
I'm thinking he's probably got maybe 2 more laps and then he'll be in. See if he does come in the next couple of laps. Of course, he has to pit and swap tyres before the end of the race. He's got no choice. He can't run them all the way. Even if he started on the hard, he cannot run all the way to the end. So see how much longer he lasts on those tyres. Remy Garcia trying to get this spot back. Just not quite there, is he? Green light come on. There's the 1 green light. Means he's got DRS available when it comes up out of Lopangal. Good battle, this one. This has been great to watch.
That's a tough turn to get right. Okay,
I've never got it right in any car. I always feel like I'm either too slow or I'm too quick.
There he
Here
goes.
comes Garcia through, and he's going to get it cleared before the approach into the final hairpin. Final chicane, I should say. Still maintains the DRS, of course. The double DRS zone. That was actually Garcia's fastest lap of the race as well. So Remy Garcia starting to use a little bit of ground here. Starting to break that gap a little. The other battle that we've been watching is on the timing sheet. Anthony Catt 20.7 seconds from the lead. But that is not... Oh, that's a car around. That's Sergio Pastian. That is not the car that he's battling with, is the leader. So we take a second off that, because that's the gap between Nielsen and Stepanov. That's still at that 19.8 to 20.1 second gap. It stayed very static for the last little while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Nielsen has to come in this time, you would think. And I'm wrong.
Oh,
Doing a great job making these tyres last. Now on lap 27 in this stint. We are in lap 27 of this 34 lap race for round 1. What should be a highly entertaining season here on SimSpeed TV of the iRacing Grand Prix Series. New tracks this season as well. I'm excited to see the new circuits coming to life. Next week we head to our first of the new tracks to iRacing. We head to Fuji Speedway, one of the most iconic tracks in the world. Looking over, well, in the background you see Mount Fuji. It's absolutely incredible circuit. So we go there next week for the first time ever. I'm excited by that.
and rumor is that league commentator will be back next week.
Yep, Jake Sperry will be back next week as well. He's currently on a train at the moment, so shout out to Sperry if you are watching. I don't think he will be. But, he's currently on a train, which is why he's not here in the booth. So he'll be back next week. Should be good. We miss his voice.
Yeah, Spirit is so good at this.
Sperry loves this series as well, so great to have him back. Kent Nielsen lost a little bit of ground on that lap. 1:12.2 on that lap by. Gap between he and Anthony Catt is exactly 20 seconds. Now, we were worried about Marcel Fassbender earlier about his tyres. But the fact that Kent Nielsen's still going on lap 28 on this tyre set says that Marcel Fassbender's got nothing to worry about.
Other than that damage of driving through 2 cars, apparently he didn't get any.
Yeah, so that was relatively lucky for him to get away with that. So we're on board with Almanza again. See the 4 green lights again. So he's got DRS active once more. Not quite close enough, but that DRS zone is more about getting that gap closer to potentially get a move done into the hairpin coming up just ahead. But it looks like Garcia may get a bit of DRS help as well here with another lap down car. I believe that is Francesco Silva in the blue car.
Nope.
No, it's Matthew. No, sorry, it's Shibata. Ronaldo Augusto has officially retired from the race, so he will call it a night.
That's a lot of retirements for an F1 race.
Yeah, we've had a few, haven't we? We've had 6 retirements, plus we've got Francisco Silva back in the pits. So, and the angle of that car says that something's not quite right. The hards goes back to the softs, so he's come in for his 3rd pit stop in this race. Anthony Catt is 24 seconds behind the leader. Kent Nielsen is 4 seconds behind the leader. So that tells us that gap is still 20 seconds. This is going to be really tight between these two.
Almanza out of DRS range on Garcia. That battle that had been so good for so long.
That lap down car actually hurt Almanza a little bit, didn't it? Down that front straight. He just couldn't quite clear him in time. He's going to have to work really hard here to get that DRS back again.
I just love the way iRacing has just been making progress after progress. These guys go out into the grass a little bit and throw grass all up on the track, and it looks so good, so realistic.
100%. It's been incredible, the evolution. Of course, you and I have been part of the iRacing service for 11 or so years, so it's been a while watching the evolution. Of course, you were away for a long while as well, and your return after a bit of an absence was a bit of a culture shock in how much had changed in the service.
Because I thought it was good whenever I left and JD and I disappeared for 5 years, and we come back, and we thought it was good when we left, and it was just amazing how much better it was.
Of course, still new things to come in the future as well. Of course, the 2022 spec Mercedes F1 car coming to iRacing.
Oh, we don't want that one, do we?
Later in the year.
I
mean, yeah, it's not as successful as this one, but in saying that, the fact that there is a current gen F1 car going to be on the iRacing service is an incredible achievement and something I would never have thought would happen. I mean, the fact that Mercedes F1 are working so closely with iRacing on developing this car that we're racing right now and the next car to come is incredible. I know that when the lead mechanics or the mechanics within the team are not working on the car, they're within a Discord server with the iRacing staff talking about the development of the iRacing car. So that's how closely aligned they are working on the new car and have been working on this car here. So it's pretty incredible to think how an F1 team has been so open to sharing their IP with iRacing. So it's a testament to how good a job iRacing has been doing over the last few years in developing the sim. Of course.
And a shout out to Mercedes for being willing to
100%.
work so closely with them.
Yep, 100%.
Now, if we could just let us put some paint schemes on them.
That would finish the car off nicely, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because some more announcements that iRacing's had, working with Toyota Gazoo Racing to release the Toyota 86 to the service, coming in a couple of months next year as well. Fuji Speedway was incredible. Of course, for me, one of my local tracks and one of my favourite places to go to in the world.
Toyota 86. That's the like the support class for
one
the
of the
Australians.
Yeah. We have a very, very strong Toyota 86 series in Australia. The
one that
averages
Jake
around
Burton used to race in.
Yep. From a Sims feed, Jake
That would be
Burton
so
used to
good. Those were
race
some
in that.
good races.
Yep, they provide some really good races, so that's cool that's coming. And because Sandown was released in the last patch.
And that's
as
what
we
you just said
Fuji.
after I said that. You said somebody else was racing in it now.
No, I don't. I can't remember who else. We got a few people that are familiar to Sims Speed broadcast that race in Toyota 86 series. We got Herb Stewart as well, races in that, part of the V8 Scop series. So he's part of the Erebus Academy as well. So he's a part of that series in Australia. So should be interesting to watch. And speaking of watching, only 3 laps to go, so only 2 more opportunities for Kent Nielsen to come into the pits and get these medium tyres on his car. He probably has to do it this lap, you would think.
It was a 1:11.74. 32 laps in.
He almost set his fastest lap of the race at this point. His best lap is a 1:11.6. He just did a 1:11.7.
Yeah, these guys know something we don't about this update.
100% they do. They're all over it. Of course, there would have been a lot of testing for these guys. For the gap there, you can see Kent Nielsen to Anthony Catt. Of course, it's 3 cars, but you add up all those margins, that's still 20 seconds. Incredible that the matching of pace Anthony Catt and Kent Nielsen are doing here. 24 and 33 lap old tyres for Catt and Nielsen. So what will happen once Kent Nielsen comes in? Where will he come out? Of course, he's going to have to, if he comes out ahead, he's going to have to defend the position on cold, medium tyres. It's not going to be an easy task for him. Steppanoff's going to get the white flag this time by. But Kent Nielsen has to come into the pits this time.
He has to.
There he is.
There he is. Unbelievable that he went that whole distance.
Let's see the gap when he comes out of the pits. Will he be close to Anthony Catt, or have we been talking up something that's not going to happen? I think that looking at the pit lane transit times and the stop times, it's going to be close, around about 1.5 seconds, I'm predicting. So up on the jacks goes Kent Nielsen. Down, medium tyres on as we expect. And through
So they
goes
do
Anthony
have to
Catt.
change compounds.
Yes, cannot go the same compound twice, which is probably the one thing that's going to hurt Kent Nielsen for potentially getting that spot back. The advantage he's got is they're very, very fresh. Disadvantage he's got is they're very, very cold, so it's going to take a lot of work to get those tyres up to temp. We'll come back to that in a sec. But Oliver Steppanoff has led every lap except for the few after he pitted. So will be another great start to the reigning champion, Oliver Steppanoff. Another great run. Absolutely dominant. Will he set the fastest lap of the race in the final lap? He set the fastest lap of the race on the previous. Crosses the line. Even with the weave, does a 1:10.5. What a great run for Steppanoff. Shows why he is the reigning champion.
Yes. Steppanoff, the reigning champion.
Good run for Remy Garcia. Pick up 2nd place, and Jorge Almanza, good drive as well, finishes in 3rd. Kent Nielsen's not quite able to get back to Anthony Cat. Cat will finish in 4th with Nielsen in 5th. Great drive from both of those guys. 25 laps on the softs for Cat and 33 for Kent Nielsen. Marcel Fassbender as well. Good job from him to make the softs last 31 laps. That was a thoroughly entertaining race, and well done to Oliver Steppen, who absolutely dominated the field.
Yeah, that was a good one. Fassbender, man, a bunch of adversity, still ended up in the top 10. That was good.
Yeah, Oliver Steppen, as we said, winning by 15 seconds in the end. Remy Garcia in 2nd. Jorge Manza in 3rd. Anthony Cat finishes 4th. 5th to Kent Nielsen. 6th to Luis Nunez. Got it done on the hard compound tyre after pitting on lap number 2. So he's done very, very well there. Marcel Fassbender, as we said, in 7th position. 8th position goes to George Van Rensburg. Cedric Beale finishes in 9th to mean 9 different nationalities in the top 9. Adam Webb rounds out the top 10 with John Pat Kelly in 11th. Matthew St. Pierre in 12th. And then we've got the DNF, unfortunately, for the rest of the field from that point on. Shibata, Silva, Bastian, Ronaldo Augusto, Alexander Katamol. That was a huge incident between those two. And then we've got Rudnev, Klaus Smits, and Jan-Henrik Bosma rounding out our field. As we were just saying, next week, for the first time ever, we head to... Nope, that's not the right track. Let's fix that. That's the wrong picture in the background. Let's fix that.
Right track, wrong picture.
Yep, there we go.
Good picture, though.
It is a good picture, but it's not the right track. That one looks better. Have a look at Mount Fuji in the background there. Isn't that absolutely beautiful?
Man, that is awesome.
All new Fuji Speedway, the longest straight that these cars will head to as well. Just under a mile in length. Just on 1.5 kilometers in length from the start of the front straight all the way to the end. So that should be absolutely incredible to watch. So make sure you do come and watch it next week with us here at SimSpeed TV. Big thank you to the iRacing Open Wheel community as well for their support of us here at SimSpeed TV. Big thank you to everyone for watching. Make sure you join us next week. Jake Sperry will be back in the booth. Till then, big thank you and bye for now.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go. Oh no! That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my god.
God, what?